Kameda, a male student, was seen lowering his head when his teacher asked him sharply about his career goals after he wrote horned beetle on his career survey. The teacher couldn't understand why Kameda would choose horned beetles as his future aspiration. Kameda tried to explain that if he gave a horned beetle to children, it would make them very happy. The teacher then concluded that maybe Kameda wanted to be someone who brings happiness to others. Kameda agreed, but admitted he hadn't found a more specific goal yet. The teacher then suggested that Kameda become a manga artist. She said he could create a manga about horned beetles. According to the teacher, boys like kabuto beetles, and the female character could be a honeybee captured by the antagonist, a grasshopper. So in the story, the horned beetle would be the hero who saves the heroine, the bee. The teacher continued to share more of her imaginative story while Kameda listened, gazing out the window. Later, Kameda's friend, Nanasaki Ikuo, was worried about Kameda after hearing he was called in to discuss his career survey. Nanasaki assumed Kameda must have written something foolish. Kameda denied it. While drinking a canned drink that Nanasaki gave him, Kameda said that after talking with her teacher, he realized he needed to think more seriously about his future career. However, Kameda still had no clear idea of what he wanted to do after graduating from high school, whether to go to college or start working. Naturally, Nanasaki became concerned and urged Kameda to decide on his future soon. Suddenly, a group of students chatting loudly caught their attention. They were also discussing their recent career surveys. Among them was Araki, a student with a guaranteed future, as he planned to take over his family's business. This made Kameda feel envious. Nanasaki reminded Kameda to focus on studying for their final exams. In class, a girl named Tsuneki was sitting on a desk. She and her friends were also talking about their future plans. Not long after, Kameda entered the classroom and walked towards Tsuneki. Tsuneki stretched her arms above her head, and she almost accidentally hit Kameda, who was standing behind her. Surprised, Tsuneki turned around and saw Kameda. Kameda said he wanted to sit down. It turned out that the desk Tsuneki was sitting on was Kameda's. Tsuneki apologized and moved away. She actually knew it was Kameda's desk, but she wanted to tease him. Kameda was shocked and blushed. Tsuneki remarked that Kameda's expression was too honest. Kameda could only sigh as he waited for them to leave. As he looked at his desk, Kameda noticed the faint warmth left from Tsuneki's sitting slowly disappearing. He stared at it intently. When he looked up, he realized another girl was watching him with a disdainful expression, as if she knew what he had just done. Naturally, Kameda was startled and quickly turned his face away, pretending he knew nothing. That night at home, Kameda and his older sister Tomo were playing a board game. Tomo lost the game and thought it was really strange. She stopped playing and got up, then asked Kameda how his final exams were going since their mom had scolded him during midterms for his poor grades. Kameda replied that he had started thinking about his future and for now, he wanted to try harder. Smiling, Tomo said she was ready to help Kameda if he needed it. The next day, Kameda was already in the cafeteria. He noticed how crowded it was and felt confused about where to sit. Then he saw Tsuneki using her VIP seat along with her friends. As Kameda was still deciding where to sit, Tsuneki suddenly waved at him. Tsuneki asked Kameda if it was true that he wanted to become a manga artist. One of Tsuneki's friends mentioned that Ms. Onagata, the teacher, had said Kameda would be perfect as a manga artist. Tsuneki and commented that Ms. Onagata was just guessing since Kameda had never drawn a manga before. Seeing that Tsuneki had been standing for a while, Yuki offered her a seat. After they finished their lunch, Tsuneki jokingly told Kameda that if he ever became a manga artist, his pen name should be Depraved Sensei. This was because Kameda had leered at the seat Tsuneki had just vacated. Kameda was shocked to realize that Tsuneki knew about it. He quickly turned his face away. Yuko and Yuki also chimed in, saying Kameda would make a great erotic manga artist. Kameda, of course, denied it. He explained that he was terrible at literature and always had to ask Ikuo for help. Because they were always together, Yuki and Yuko teased that Kameda and Ikuo might be a couple. Naturally, Kameda denied all of it, asking them not to make baseless accusations. Later in the afternoon at the library, Kameda and Ikuo were seen writing something. Suddenly, Tsuneki appeared and startled them both. She approached Ikuo and asked him to teach her classical literature as well. Tsuneki confessed that she was terrible at classical literature, just like Kameda. She kept pleading with Ikuo, promising to buy him 3 cans of his favorite Coco Panda. Kameda tried to signal Ikuo by shaking his head, suggesting that he shouldn't accept the offer. But Tsuneki noticed and gave Kameda a cold look. Reluctantly, Kameda said he didn't mind. Finally, Ikuo agreed to help her. At another time during PE class, two boys were caught spying on the basketball court where Tsuneki and the others were playing. They admired Tsuneki's skills, but suddenly a woman named Sanjaruze caught them in the act and ordered them to leave. The two boys immediately ran away, passing Kemida, who was resting under a tree, while shouting, "I'm gonna ask Tsuneki out and go trekking with her." It turned out that one of them was the president of the hiking club, and Kemida thought he was really obsessed with Tsuneki. Ikuo, who was beside Kemida, asked, "What about you?" Kemida responded that he didn't really like Tsuneki because she always teased him. Ikuo remarked that it was better to be toyed with than hated because if Tsuneki ever hated Kemida, then all the girls in class would eventually become his enemies. Tsuneki was the center of attention in their class, and Kemida felt like he was a completely different species from her. Ikuo stood up and mentioned that he had once seen Tsuneki walking with an older man who had a beard but looked too young to be her father. Ikuo's brother had seen them and assumed they were dating. Kemida then wondered if Tsuneki preferred older men. Recently, Kemida had been studying diligently, both at school and at home. As the final exams approached, he and his friends took them seriously. When the results were announced, Kemida had a surprisingly high rank, making his friends envious. Yukie, who saw the results, was especially annoyed because she ranked lower than Kemida. Just then, a childhood friend of Kemida named Kyuko approached him. She commented that Kemida had become quite popular among the girls. Kemida denied it, saying they were just talking about the exam results. Kyuko then asked Kemida to teach her next time before she walked away. Kemida smiled, saying he hadn't felt this accomplished in a long time, and thanked Ikuo for helping him study. Ikuo then mentioned that soon in the summer, there would be a summer course he planned to attend. He invited Kemida to join him. The course would involve 2 weeks of studying at a hotel in the mountains. Kemida was shocked at the thought of spending 2 weeks there and couldn't give Ikuo a definite answer. He said he just wanted to enjoy his time off for now. Later that afternoon, Kemida, Ikuo, and Araki were seen leaving an arcade. They were talking about someone they couldn't beat. Araki then mentioned that he would be going on a 3-day trip with some part-time workers during the summer. He said he actually wanted to stay home and take care of his rabbits, but the girls in the second-year class said they wouldn't go unless he joined. Ikuo then asked if that meant some of his classmates were going too. Araki tried to recall who would be joining the trip. He mentioned Yukie, Yuko, and Tsuneki. Hearing this, Ikuo and Kemida were surprised and exchanged glances. Kemida couldn't believe they were going on the trip. He wanted to ask Araki more about it, but Ikuo interrupted. Araki then asked if they wanted to join the trip too. Ikuo quickly declined, teasing that Kemida was just jealous because Araki was so popular with the second-year girls. Araki then wanted to play some more and headed back into the arcade. Kemida and Ikuo continued their conversation, wondering why Tsuneki was going on a trip with another guy when she already had a boyfriend. Ikuo just laughed, thinking that if Kemida had told Araki the truth and they ended up not going on the trip, the second-year girls would surely hate Kemida. That evening, while Kemida was walking home, he noticed a new bakery. He decided to buy a cake for his older sister. As he looked towards the door, he saw Tsuneki working there. Kemida also noticed a bearded man approaching her. This might be the guy Ikuo talked about yesterday. Seeing this, Kemida was impressed by Tsuneki, as she always seemed to be a few steps ahead of him. Kemida then called Ikuo and told him about his decision regarding the upcoming summer course. When Kemida got home, he was busy preparing his things for the summer course. Tomo noticed how busy Kemida was. He explained that this summer course was a famous prep course, attracting students from all over the country. This made him a little nervous since he was only going with Ikuo. However, Tomo admired Kemida for being willing to spend his summer vacation studying. Tomo then gave him a pack of mushroom chocolates as a gift. Kemida was very grateful to her. The next day, Kemida took a bus to the hotel where the summer course would be held. At the hotel, some students were already there, amazed that the organizers had rented out an entire hotel for the event. The hotel even had a swimming pool. Upon arriving at the hotel, Kemida was so enthusiastic and excited. Then, by chance, when Kemida looked to the other side of the hotel, his eyes focused on a girl wearing a doTERRA. doTERRA is a type of Japanese clothing, but when he turned to tell Ikuo, the girl was no longer there. Ikuo then mentioned that there were stories about the ghost of an exam participant. Maybe the girl Kemida had just seen was that ghost. Kemida immediately panicked. Then an adult man made an announcement to all the participants to move to the conference room, where they would be given further instructions on how to use the facilities in the schedule. The participants walked towards the conference room. However, one participant was seen trying to leave the room. Unexpectedly, the adult man grabbed the participant's shoulder and dragged him back into the room. Kameda and Ikuo, seeing this, realized that some people had been forced to come here as well. That night, Kameda was curled up in the corner, feeling down because he was in last place for the placement test. He then asked Ikuo about his results. Ikuo was at the top. Kameda was frustrated and felt inferior because he had thought he was on par with everyone else, considering they were all high school students. Since it was late, Kameda then went to his room to sleep. In the room, Kameda continued to beat himself up. He thought that maybe he shouldn't have come here. If he had decided to go to the beach with Tsuneki and the others, they might have become closer. Kameda then fantasized about being at the beach, being fed by Tsuneki, who was wearing a swimsuit. Kameda then slapped his own face, reasserting his determination to study there. With newfound resolve, he opened the window and shouted that he wouldn't give up. Then suddenly, a hand reached out, grabbing the bottom of the window as if trying to hold on and enter the room. Kameda was startled and backed away. From the window, someone began to peek inside. Terrified, Kameda remembered the ghost story Ikuo had mentioned earlier that day. The person then struggled to enter Kameda's room. She crawled towards Kameda, saying she was cold, and asked Kameda to help her. The woman tried to reach for Kameda, who looked very scared in the middle of the room. All Kameda could do was scream.